Welcome to Wellness Tea Time with Dr. Rita. My name is Dr. Rita Sonko, a public health physician. I am the host of this show, and I aim to help you engage with different guests to understand more about mental health. Remember, Toli, Wekka, you're not alone. It's very important for us to break the stigma and break the silence about mental health. Welcome to Wellness Tea Time with Dr. Rita. I am so excited to have you, Jannet.
Thank you.
Jannet is a special guest, actually our first counselor, psychologist at Toli, Wekka. Welcome, Jannet.
Thank you very much.
So please tell our audience a little bit about you. Who is Jannet?
Okay. My name is Jannet Nanzige, and I'm a mental health counseling psychologist. I have 15 years experience of working with young people. I've been working in schools as a psychologist. I've been helping young girls and young boys who are sexually abused recover from the trauma. And I also work with their parents, because there is no way you can work with children without involving their parents, and of course teachers as well.
Yeah, very important. Yeah, so holistic care for children obviously naturally involves the parents.
Yes.
And I can imagine that in your work you've experienced varying degrees of acceptability of the challenge that a child is facing. I think a lot of parents sometimes tend to think that the child is okay, even if they're being told that the child is actually needing help.
Yes.
How have you seen that, especially working in a school setting, where you now need to bring the parent on board and help them to understand what you're dealing with?
Wow, thank you so much, Doctor. Children are not listened to. Yeah, like adults think that children don't go into depression, stress, but the thing is not true. They actually face these disorders, but then who is there to listen? That's why of recent we found so many suicidal cases in schools. So my experience in working with schools, I find that in schools they are concentrating on curriculum and just on how a child is going to perform, but not on their mental well-being. Yet mental health is as important as physical health. There is no health without mental health.
Absolutely.
And children here, they are not listened to, they are not given, like parents at home, they are busy. They don't have time for their children. They are not friends with their children. And when they come to school, schools want results.
Yeah.
So where do they find the balance from? They don't find any balance. That's why they end up involving themselves in habits like taking drugs, getting into girl-boy relationship at a very young age, just because there is no one to listen to. They face, for example, body changes, and then they don't know what to do next.
No one has really explained all of these things to them. Yeah,
that they are normal. Recently, there is a girl I worked on, and she wanted to cut off her breast because the fellows were telling her that you have big breasts and what, you know. So because no one told her that it is normal for you to have those breasts, all those issues these young people are facing, and they don't have anyone to share with.
Wow. Yeah. So also bullying obviously then coming in as a problem there.
Yes.
I can see, a child who is maybe a little different in terms of she's not the average, weight or height or whatever. And now she's facing this bullying and she doesn't have anyone to actually help her understand how to stand on her own and, stand against this kind of behavior. And of course, if she can't stand against the behavior herself, where is the school, where is the parent to actually help them cope in this kind of situation?
Definitely, but also talk about pressure at school. They are pressurized, they want results. When you look at the school timetable, it is very, very busy. There is no time for this child to go and interact, play, and all those things really, they make their mental health at stake.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Sure. So what kind of issues are you seeing on the parenting side? Because I think that's the one conversation that we need to just have a little bit more of.
Yeah.
We know that in Uganda, it's very easy for parents to find alternative care for their children, which is in the form of a help at home. If not at home, it is the warden or the matron at the school who then takes on that role, that parenting role. But obviously then there are many gaps. What are you seeing from your experience? What are some of the fundamental issues that people need to be aware of?
Oh, thank you so much, Doctor. Parents don't give their children time. And I've gotten this response so much from the learners. They come explain that, counselor, I need to talk to my mother, I need to talk to my father, but he or she is always busy. They don't give us time. So there is that gap. Parents are looking for money and they don't have time to sit down and talk to these children. So these children are let out to go in the world, and then the world teaches them.
The world teaches them.
Yes.
Sure. Yeah.
And because they are vulnerable, they take in everything. And then another thing is that relationship. Parents don't have any relationship with. They are not friends with their children. And this has brought a big gap. This is where a child has something, maybe, for example, like I've told you, I used to work with those children who are sexually abused.
Yeah.
Someone is abused, they want to share the pain with their parents, but every time they want to talk to them, they don't have the time. And also they fear them because they are not friends.
Yeah, yeah.
So those two gaps really, not being friends to the children, and then the time.
Not giving them time.
Yes.
Yeah. I know someone, actually, I think it's in my church, where our pastor was always saying that, you know, that the best currency, the currency in terms of quality of parenting is time.
Yeah.
So the more time you can give a child, the more, you know, you can be rewarded. And it's very evident that children who have spent some time with their parents, it shows off in their confidence, in their ability to engage and do all of these things. And their character. Because, of course, who shapes the character of your child?
It is the parents.
It's the one who is around them.
Yes.
You know, so one would assume the parent will shape it, but if the parent is never around, obviously it will be the maid now, the help at home, or whoever is in the vicinity of that child. That's who they see. Or lately, it's actually social media, TikTok.
Sure. Talk about the maids. They are also struggling.
Yeah.
And you've given this struggling personality to your child to be the one to parent them.
Imagine.
That's why we found so many of them beating them, abusing them sexually, emotionally, because they are also struggling. But parents don't know. For them, as long as I'm looking for money, that's all. But what will you do at the end of the day when you have gotten all the money, but your child is wasted? Your child have started using drugs, because we've seen all these things. Yeah.
Sure, that's a big, massive problem. So talk about the drug substance use problem, and of course even alcohol. What are you seeing in schools and among young people that you're interacting with? Is this a growing problem that you're seeing more and more of?
Yeah, like naturally, children or young people are very curious.
Yeah.
They want to know. So you find that they listen at this stage of adolescence. They listen so much to their fellows. And there is no one to guide them. So you find that most of young children, they are ending up into drug. And here you can really see it. Go in schools and you find out people are carrying drugs in the eats, in the drinks, and then they float them into the school. And then you find you're like, oh my God. I've been having counseling sessions in some of the schools that I'm counseling in, and children are coming out to open up. Because they don't know, others are peer influence, you know, their friends are telling them, let's do this, and there is no one to guide. So there is a lot of drug use in schools. Children are using alcohol, they are abusing drugs, and no one is following up. The schools, some of the schools, what they want is money. And these children, their parents, of course, they have money.
Yeah.
So askari, they will just tip their askari and then they enter with their medicine, with their drugs in the school, and then they abuse. Even in the school where we think that it is a safe environment, actually, it is not safe because the children come with the drugs from outside the home, I mean
the school,
and then they start to use them while at school.
Wow.
Yeah.
So they will just pay off the guards.
Yes.
Wow. That's just a massive problem because obviously, and I sense that the parents don't really have a good sense of what's really going on with the children.
They don't.
Yeah.
They don't, because they even don't have the time to check what their children are taking at school. They don't. I got a parent who the child was sent to school and then she had like 5 phones and the parent didn't know.
Wow.
You know, and they just discovered from the school. So when they got to know, they had to remove all the phones, and then the girl committed suicide. Oh. Yes. So parents don't know, parents don't take the time to check their children. Like, literally, there is no time to give that,
Wow. So, you know, I think what you're emphasizing goes back to the very basics of parenting.
Yes.
You cannot afford to spend all your time in Chikubo or wherever it is you make your money, and your children have no sight of you at all, and there's no time. And I think that for me is the one thing that we really need to get back to basics.
Yes.
That parenting and the guidance and the support that needs to come from the parent to the child.
To the child.
Yeah. I don't know, how do we send a strong message to parents to get this? Because it seems we as parents do a lot of assuming.
Yeah.
We assume my child is doing okay, my child is fine. And you're just looking at the grades, the marks, but you're not really understanding what's really going on. As a counselor, what would you advise the parents? A message for the parent?
Wow, that's a very good question. So the thing is, parents themselves are also struggling.
Yeah, for sure.
And you cannot pour from an empty cup. Parents are broken. They have childhood traumas. And they have not worked on them. So maybe my message at this time, as a parent, before even you, for those ones that have not yet become parents, do you take time to work on yourself? Because when you're broken, you cannot really raise up someone straight when you're already broken.
Yeah.
So can parents try to work on themselves first? And if you really see that my child is going astray and at this point I cannot manage, refer that child to a professional.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yes, and then they get hope. And even before reaching at that stage of seeing that these children need continuous talking, they need guidance.
Absolutely.
And if we don't have time, there is no way we are going to help these children. Spend some time with your children. This is also very important. That is how you're going to know that this girl is behaving this way, and really I need to take time, because when you discover at the early stage, you can help.
Absolutely.
But they get to know when it is at the age
at the end of the story.
Yeah.
Wow. That's a really, really important message. And it just reminded me of a friend of mine who is actually an author of a book which says the village, basically the message of her book is that the village, instead of raising a child, it actually wrecks the child sometimes. And she talks about this generational trauma, which is what you're talking about, when a parent had traumatic incidences as a child, and that just carries on. It carries on and carries on because they didn't deal with it. And I think that's a really important message, because many times we say, oh no, but we had it much harder. We don't realize that the world has changed too. What was hard for us then, you know, it's a different world. So we cannot say, oh no, but they're not even walking to school. It's not about walking to school, right? It's about all the exposures that people have and the difficulties. Absolutely. So I wanted to cover one more area. I know that you've had extensive experiences and have actually worked with some of our young people that have gone to work in diaspora, you know, Saudi Arabia, Dubai, and all of these other places. A lot of young people leave our country in droves, you know, to go and work.
Yeah.
What are you hearing, and what has been your experience when you engaged them one-on-one? What is going on with these young people?
Wow, thank you so much. I've actually gotten an opportunity to work with some of those young girls and boys. And what I've discovered, most of them, if not all of them, they suffer from separation anxiety. When, like Africa or Uganda, we are very relational people.
Yeah.
And when they go out there, they are kept in the building. You are not, because you don't understand the language.
Yeah.
But also you've gone there as someone who is supposed to work. Those people, most of those people, they don't expect to relate with you because for you, your job is to work. And most of those young boys and girls, they left their families here.
Yeah.
So they go into depression.
Sure.
They face anxiety. And that's why you find that they end up committing suicide. So during COVID, I got an opportunity, like it was an opportunity in disguise, because we got to know that we can actually give our services online.
Exactly.
So we tried it, we tested it, and it worked. I got so many clients during that time. And I was giving sessions online, like on Zoom. And then you find that someone was at the age of committing suicide, and they are like, "Counselor, you've really helped me." So I've worked with them. I've managed to give them sessions online and then help them to make a right decision, change this irrational thinking into positive thinking. So, and then at the end of the day, they finish their contracts, because you find that if someone is not mentally okay, they cannot even finish they cannot even work. So the companies that are taking these young girls and boys, they are actually not also making money, because at the end of the day, those young boys and girls, they are deported. Yeah. And
because they couldn't cope.
They cannot.
And there is not health care that is sufficient for, you know, even relevant for them.
Yeah.
They can't relate the language issues, the cultural issues, all of these things. Yeah, yeah.
So as we are minding so much on the physical health, I know when they come to your companies, you're looking at them when they are physically okay, but are we able to maintain their mental health, their mental well-being? When they are leaving our country, some of them, they are very much excited because they don't know, like, you're going to make money. When they reach there, things are totally different. Yeah. Some of them, they go with their expectations of making so much money, and then they reach there, they are like, then reality comes to them. So we need to follow up on them.
Yeah, absolutely.
Following up, finding out how they are doing, and then give them support. Yes, we can give counseling services online, and those people become okay. I've tested this. It is working. Yeah.
Very, very important. And I think, you know, for me, this whole thing came to life for like really seeing it firsthand when I went to on vacation to Dubai, and I met a lot of Ugandans there, and I would engage with them. They were in the shops, in the restaurants, they were guards, they were doing all sorts of jobs. And in those engagements that I had, then I realized that we have a problem.
Sure.
We have a massive problem. And many of them were telling us that, you know, they told you this, but you come here and the reality is very different. And then you start to say, yeah, but I came to make enough money like a border guy makes in Uganda. So you sold everything only to come and you're making the same money as a border guy in Kampala. So why? So part of the depression, I suppose, comes from that unmet expectations, and then the isolation that you're talking about. You know, being locked up in houses and you can't leave, and you don't even have your travel document. Many of them don't even have a phone to work with.
Some of them say that most people there treat them like donkeys. Yes, we really, sometimes we think that those things ended, but they are still there.
Yeah.
And you know you left your loving family at home, and then you go and then you're being treated like nothing. All those things bring depression.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I think in closing, some final insights. I mean, we've spoken a lot. There's the issues of the young people in school. There's the issues around substance abuse, which is growing. There's neglect by our parents. And now this issue of these ones in diaspora who are also now isolated and abandoned in essence by both their employers and their families because they are cut off. What is your final message? What do you want our listeners to go away with from this conversation?
Wow, thank you so much. So, our dear listeners, there is no health without mental health. Yeah, and you know, in our culture, we had not embraced it. Not until COVID came still, and then people were committing suicide. People saw people becoming like insane just because they were mentally not stable. Let us take care of ourselves. When you see that you are not fine, you have to do something. You have to know yourself. And if you find that it is at the age you cannot do it, please find a professional. You know, find a professional counselor, and then you talk to them, and then you bounce your life back. Counselors don't make for people decisions, but they help people to make right decisions.
Absolutely.
Come and we talk. Like our program here, you're not alone. Toli, Wekka. You know, so many people are suffering. They are going through a lot, but people are isolating. You find people committing suicide because they think what they are going through, they are the only ones going through it. You are not alone.
Absolutely.
We are here to listen because counselors listen. Come and we listen to you. Come and you talk. There is power in just talking. Even when we have not established or started the therapies. Yeah. The mere fact that you are talking about it. Yeah. I want to give you an example that men don't want to share. And for us women, that's why we have so many namwandus and have few, because for us we live longer, we talk. Yeah. You find a woman talking, sharing, and then people call it lugambo, but it is okay because we are pouring out. Yeah. And in our culture, they say, how can a man talk? How can a man cry? Yeah. And then we suppress their feelings. Yeah. That's why you find that for them, when they decide to commit suicide, they succeed. Research shows that women tempt so much to attempt suicide, but men succeed. Yeah. Because for them, when they think about it, they don't share with anyone. Yeah. For us, we shall go and share, and then someone comes and
says, no, man, you can't do that.
Yeah, so there is power in talking, seek professional counseling, and also remember that it is okay not to be okay. Yeah.
Don't bottle it up on your own. Thank you. Those are really powerful words. And thank you so much for joining Toli, Wekka. We are so excited to have you on board and cannot wait to see the developments. Certainly online counseling available. So I want to make that Kalango. Online counseling is available. And that is something we want to get out to everyone who is not able to see us physically.
Sure.
For sure. Thank you so much, Jannet.
You're welcome.